We be live.
Oh, hello.
Hello. I know this is the first time we're doing a Q&A. I have a question. I have a question for the chat.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't Susanna look extremely cute with her glasses? Chat, like, doesn't she? Look at her. Oh, good thing you switched your mic. I realized your mic wasn't good. Okay, yeah. This is the right mic. I don't know. It looks really good. It looks really cute. Music guy is saying
Thank you.
audio
They're
is
brand
good.
new.
Okay, but I'm actually asking this question. Okay, I'm expecting an answer in the live chat. Like, this was not just a like. I want people to answer this. Yes,
I need
people are
chat
saying.
to answer.
Rogers is saying
Speaking of
maybe,
music
maybe
guy,
not. Hmm.
I got a mug that he sent me recently.
Oh, music guy, look, you sent. Wow,
Music guy
music
sent me
guy.
this mug that says other bosses, and it's a regular horse, and then me, and it's a unicorn on a stripper pole.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, look,
So thank
secular.
you for the mug,
Hmm.
music guy. I love this. I've already been drinking coffee out of it. And we also got some hilarious mail recently of people preaching at us. I thought maybe it'd be maybe funny if people were interested for me to read part of
I
this letter.
used to get those. Now that our mail goes to you, you're getting those. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, okay. If we have time, we could go through that. Mustafa is
It's
saying, like,
hilarious.
Mustafa, you're giving Hogwarts vibes to Mustafa. Is it hilarious? Is it the
I think it's
Jesus?
hilarious.
Is it Jesus? Is it inviting you to Jesus?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The
Does it
funniest
mention?
part was so they sent us a lot of mail. One of them is addressed to you, one is addressed to me, and then one is addressed to Atheist Republic. They all go to the same address, but we each got the
Oh,
same letter repeated. But the funniest thing is, wait, I lost the other one. This is hilarious. They all come with these little business cards, and this business card is the good person test. And you're supposed to place your finger over just a normal business card on this yellow square until it turns green to prove if you are a good person, the square will turn green. Well, it's not going
does
to
it?
do anything. It's just normal
Oh,
paper, right? And then on the back it says, "Did you pass the test?" The fact is, no one can pass this test.
hey. I really like the way you read it.
Well, because the way I read this is like this: Did you pass the test? The fact is, no one can pass the test. Like flips table. And then
Oh my
it just
god.
goes on and on and on about
Yeah.
God's law. And let's check the standard, the 10 Commandments, to see if we fall short. Is God first in your life? Like, it just goes on.
Oh my god, that's very funny. We should do it. You should just do a solo stream, just going through that. How about that?
That would be hilarious. Yeah, guys,
Yeah.
please comment if you want me to do a dramatic reading of the preaching we get sent to us. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah, that's people for people who are wondering in the live chat. That's the point. Is that this is a very actually I like this is a very original way of um communicating the original, talking about the original sin, sending a card that doesn't change color, and like be your sinner. Yeah, yeah. All right.
My favorite is it just starts off. This is the weirdest letter I've ever received. It just starts off crispy critters.
What does that mean?
I think it might be referring that we're going to hell because the
Oh, the Bible. There's a Bible reference because we're gonna be
because the
crispy.
the letter ends with "have a nice eternity."
Oh my god, these people are psychotic.
I'm like, oh, oh, sir.
Oh my god. Yes, people on Twitch are also saying do it. They appreciate
Okay.
well. Sounds
I'll
like a
do
lot
it
of
soon.
fun. Okay.
Beep Boop is saying Happy Holi. It is. Holi's happening
Is
right
it?
now. Yeah.
What does
And
that mean?
Nowruz is just around the corner too.
Yeah. Wait, what is Holi?
It's the Hindu festival where they throw all the colors at each
Oh.
other. That
Oh,
looks like
yeah,
so
yeah,
much
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Okay. More important than both of those, more important than Nowruz and Happy Holi, is that tomorrow, I know what you think I'm going to say. You thought I'm going to say about March 23rd being Atheist Day, but I was going to say tomorrow is Imam Mahdi's birthday.
Oh!
You were like, yes, Atheist Day. No, Susanna, not Atheist Day. Imam Mahdi's birthday. Aren't you? Okay, never mind. So yeah, actually, you're right. We should talk about Atheist Day. Go on. March 23rd.
Yes. So, guys, it is important to remind you now because, like we told you last week, we're not doing the news this Saturday. But March 23rd is Atheist Day, and we'll talk more about it later at the end of the stream. But Atheist Day is a day to help normalize atheism and to show to other people how many atheists are out there, to help normalize it and to help other atheists find community and see that they're not alone. So to celebrate Atheist Day, all you have to do is post a picture of yourself or just a picture of a green circle, and you can get creative about how you post this picture of a green circle because that's the symbol of Atheist Day, and maybe talk about why expressing your atheism is important to you or what it
Most
means.
importantly, use the hashtag Atheist Day so more people figure this out, right? That we exist, okay? And if you're not an atheist, use the hashtag Atheist Day to say Happy Atheist Day to atheists in around the world. And also, if you're not an atheist but you know an atheist, maybe consider saying Happy Atheist to them on March 23rd in case they don't know that they have a day. You could be the non-atheist that tells an atheist that, oh, today's your day, Happy Atheist Day, so that they become aware that we have a day. Okay.
With that being
And if you're a couple and one of you is an atheist and the other one is not an atheist, the non-atheist could buy a gift for the atheist as a do that. That would be and if you are an atheist, and you are a couple with somebody who's not an atheist and you don't receive your gift, now you know that they don't actually love you. So there's that.
I love the standards. I love it.
No. Okay. Let's go to the question.
Anyways, guys, you know what we're here for today. We're here for the Q&A. And as always, if you didn't know, patrons get priority when it comes to our Q&As. So if you would like to make sure that your questions get asked and that they get answered first, become a patron of our Patreon. And you can find the link to that in the description. And if you join, you can get this special perk and get access to all of our sexy blasphemous art, all for as little as $1 a month. So please consider supporting us financially if you like our work. If it wasn't for our patrons, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So super appreciate
I'm going to get back in
this.
I haven't been responding to some Patreon messages. I will get back to that because I am, now that I recovered from my surgery and everything is back to normal, I'm going to get back to responding to my messages. Okay. Only on Patreon. So yeah. Okay, cool. So let's get to the questions.
Okay. So the first question, well, let's take a question from our newest patron, Rudresh. Rudresh has just joined us as a patron. So, let's welcome everyone.
Thank you,
welcome, Rudresh. Thank you for supporting us. So,
thank you, Rudresh.
Rudresh is asking, is the Iranian government essentially like a caste system, with mullahs being comparable to Brahmins, the IRGC being comparable to the Kshatriya at the top? By the way, Iran amb to India? What does A and B mean? Iran amb to India just to say that Indian Brahmins and Iran intellection will change the world. Rudrash, can you explain what you mean by the second sentence? I don't understand it. But what do you think about this observation, potentially? Oh, ambassador. Okay, so the Iranian ambassador to India just said that Indian Brahmins and Iranian intellectuals will change the world.
Oh
That's an interesting
wow.
comment.
Yeah. By the way,
Oh
Susanna,
boy.
when you put the Patreon questions, um, after the name, put like a colon,
I did on
so that
like
you.
okay, I forgot to do that this week. Anyways, what do you think of this, Armin?
Well, I mean, you could compare the caste system to all forms of hierarchy around the world, right? So, at the end of the day, caste system would be similar to hierarchies because it's a hierarchy, right? The main problem with caste system, I mean, there's not that other hierarchies are okay. Like we have a lot of hierarchies that are bad and some of them that are not so bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, if you make a company and you put somebody in charge, that's not necessarily a hierarchy that is a bad thing, right? So you're like, I mean, they're loosely related in a way that, like, in all, throughout history, we have had priests at the top, priests and kings at the top, and below that were like the generals and whoever was in charge of the army. So that is always going to be, you're always going to find similarities in that. What makes the system specifically worse than the other, many others, not all of them, right? Is that it's based on is heretical, right? It's based on heredity, right? It's based on blood. It's you're born into it, right? Like for example, even the example that you mentioned here, which is a very bad example, like in Iran, none of this is justified, but it is, you have to earn becoming a member of IRGC, right? Or even if you're mullah, you technically have to go to the Hosea and study something, some bull crap, and you have to do something to become a mullah, right? But the caste system, you're just born a Brahmin, or you're born a Shudra, or you're born an outcast, right? So that makes it, again, I'm not endorsing whatever hierarchy exists in the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's obviously horrible. But that element of being born into it, it makes it, uh, it's an element that is extra disgusting with the caste system. Right? Does that make sense?
What? Yeah, totally. I what do you think about Rudresh's estimation of the hierarchy, though? Because I think that in real life, the IRGC, his so-called kshatriya, would be much higher than the mullahs.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Susanna is making a good point. In Iran, the IRGC, I mean, they're random. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so it depends because the mullahs are anyone from Khamenei himself to the random Akhundozari down the kuche. You mean like you could like a random mullah in your neighborhood? That's not, he's not going to be significant, right? So depends on what, we have mullahs and we have mullahs, right? And also when it comes to IRGC, you have like somebody that could have been as high as Qasim Soleimani, right? Which some people could argue that he was becoming, close to, if he was alive, he would have been the most powerful man in Iran after Khamenei's death, right? Uh, all the way to a teenage Basiji person that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't even have a uniform, that has nothing other, a kid, a teenage kid with a Basiji card would also be part of IRGC, right? So, I mean, I went to, one of my classmates was a Basiji kid, right? He didn't seem like that. Like, so again, as a whole, who has the upper hand, the mullahs or IRGC? I would agree that it's IRGC. Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just proud of myself for actually understanding what you said. I was like, oh, I know what kuche means.
Wait, Qasim is saying they used to get 2 reals. Oh yeah, that's what I said. 2 reals for making people cry. That's why some people call them bilbili. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's so. That's so telling.
Yeah.
That's so telling. Everything
Mhm.
is about crying. Oh my god.
Do I have
Uh,
too much light coming from above me? Is it too
no,
shiny today? No. Okay.
no. Okay, let's take a question from Secular Sakai. This one is threw me through a loop. This is from last week that I wasn't here to answer. So Secular Sakai is asking, what are your thoughts on the 1978 Sealand Civil War, the smallest civil war in history with less than a dozen people involved in fighting over an island-ish micronation? Can the principality ever heal from the horrors of war? And do you support the reign of Prince Michael or the rebel scoundrels of the government in exile? So, I don't even know how to explain this. So, off the coast of Great Britain, there is it looks like if an oil rig was like tiny, like this little structure that comes out of the sea. And after it was built for World War II, and then afterwards it was kind of abandoned, and it was slightly outside of what England at the time considered its naval borders. And so it was in international waters. And then basically what happened is there's been fights over the years over people who have laid claim to this little sea structure, and they called it their own island and their own nation, and they started issuing passports for it. The people who took over this little structure declared themselves like royalty, and they like passed it down to their children and all this stuff. And then there was a fight where literally they tried to like oust everyone. It was crazy. Like I was reading about this on Wikipedia. I was like, oh, what the hell? I don't really have much of an opinion on this. I just love that there's just random people. I mean, it was like a pirate stuff, like in the middle of the 70s. Uh, very like because they originally wanted to take over this little sea raft because that's where pirate radio hosts were operating, so they could operate outside of the borders of like radio regulations and bring it to you raw. So it was like very punk rock. I kind of liked that. But then there were all these larger issues that came into it, and now it's in contention because England expanded its naval borders or something, and now it's within their borders again. I don't know. I don't really have Secular Sakai. I don't really have an opinion of over who has rightful claim to the beautiful land of Sealand. I was just fascinated. I was like, this is so weird.
For a while I was looking into what it takes to make a new country, because I was thinking atheists should one day be able to make a country the same way that Jewish people made the country out of Israel, right? Made Israel a country based on the argument that we're being persecuted everywhere and we need like a place to our own. I was like, well, that's true with atheists. And I was looking at the conditions of making a country, and I was like, we already have all of the conditions. Atheist Republic meets all of the conditions by United Nations to start a country, except having land. Okay, so I was like, I mean, the list doesn't seem that difficult. And as soon as you convince one other country to recognize your country, then you're in the whole system of like being a country, and you could just become more of a country the more countries recognize you as a country. But yeah, that finding a piece of land that nobody is claiming or a country is willing to give up, that's the difficult part. And I'm like,
Well,
yeah.
all we have to do is go to that one place in the Sahel that no one actively wants. Like people
Mm-hmm.
actively avoid actually laying
Mm-hmm.
claim to this piece of land. So we just go to that part of the Sahel,
But then
put
we
our
will
flag
be
there.
right. Yeah, Southern Atheist Republic, right in the middle of a place where surrounded by Islamic terrorists. That's a great idea.
That's where it's needed most. They say go where you're needed most.
No, okay. So actually, that's a very important point because because we're not going to have an army, right? So we had to find a neighborhood where other people have armies. You know what I mean? Other countries, to benefit from the security in that area, right? So if like Spain has like a place where, or Portugal has a place where it's like too hard to manage, or like it's been abandoned, right? We could just be like, buy the land and then petition to government to just let us declare this our own, you know? And, and then we're like, okay, now this is like a country, right? But I was thinking like maybe we don't need to do that, because within 50 years from now, probably virtual land would be as important as real land. So we'll just declare our country back up, and but right in the metaverse, right?
Hell
We
yeah.
wouldn't need this outdated legal framework and the United Nations and laws and stuff. We'll just declare a country up in the metaverse somewhere. We'll make our own metaverse. We'll make our own Atheist Republic metaverse. Yeah.
Hell
All
yeah.
right.
Okay, so next question is from Gasian American. Wait, where did it go? I messed up the order. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so the context for this is that last week on the news, we were talking about a new survey that studied and revealed which groups of people are less likely to be out an open atheist, and less likely to be out as an atheist. And those groups were women, Southerners, and Republicans. And you said that you had a spicy take that you couldn't include on the show at the time because you're under a time constraint about this, specifically about women.
Wait, can you explain that one more time? Because I thought when she's saying like, oh yes. Now I see what they're saying. I was talking about. Okay, so the question is by Gasian American, and he's asking, Armin, please elaborate on the closeted atheists in the South. So we were talking about why more men are open and talk about their atheism than women. Okay, so there's two answers to this, and I think both of them are correct, but one of them is okay to say, okay, and the other one I think it was not that okay to say, okay. The one that is okay to say because it confirms the unfairness of society against women. So if you say that, people are like, yes, this is true, right? Women are being, victimized and oppressed. Okay, so but it is true. Like, I'm not saying it's not true, but it's just you will get a lot of applause for saying that, right? So the one part of it is that women are shamed a lot more for what they do than men, right? Women are expected to behave more and are considered, I don't know, slutty or they just keep them. Society expects women to behave properly, be womanly, so a woman who speaks out, or like goes away from the norm, or becomes a rebel, or wants to be free, or doesn't want to play in societal expectations, the shame and the guilt, and the pointing of fingers, and the aggression is like a lot higher than what a man experiences on average. Okay, on average, I'm not saying every case. Okay, so that's the one reason why you might think like atheist women wouldn't be encouraged to speak out as much as atheist men, right? That's an easy thing to say because people like that to hear it, right? The not so popular one is that it might also be something to do with nature. Okay, it has been said that us men have a bit more testosterone in our blood. Well, not a bit, a lot, right?
It has been said.
It has been said, okay? And it has also been said that hormones have an effect on the way you feel about things, okay? That's also been said, okay? It does something. It's not just something that, it's in your blood for just for the hell of it, right? So it impacts your desires and your moods, okay? I'm not. Don't come at me, okay? It's other people claim that. Other people claim that.
These are just things that I hear.
Okay, I'm not making any claims. I'm not saying men and women are naturally like different or anything. I wouldn't dare say anything like that. Okay, that would be like, okay, all right. No, I'm just like telling you what other people say. Okay. And it also can say that testosterone makes you feel more competitive and more aggressive and one of, I don't know, more interested in coming on, on top and, winning and mattering, or like, like things like that, thinking about beating it, making it. Okay, so I was gonna say something that people are gonna be like, leaving a mark, right? Being significant, like in society,
Legacy building.
legacy building, mattering, um being noticed as an influencer or somebody that has done something important. Okay, looking at your identity and wanting to be seen as somebody that has power or influence or opinions that are significant. Okay, again, I'm not saying any of these things. Okay, I'm just saying other people might suggest that. Okay.
Wait, what does that have to do with being an open atheist, though?
Right, so it's not just about being an open atheist, it's about rebellion and not taking shit, right? And and it's also about just like, I'm gonna do this because it matters. I'm gonna do this because I am not the person that would just stay silent in the face of like, this and this. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a difference. It's not just atheism, it's all forms of activism and rebellion, right? So it's basically the same reason why we have more male, warlords and CEOs and, I don't know, scientists and emperors and kings, and
Well, I
it's the
think the
same
reason
thing.
why we have more male warlords is because of physical fitness.
No, I mean, even not like, even if you've got general, like that you could be a fat.
True.
Yeah, you still have more. You're still like, oh, I want to expand the country. We got to take over the world, right? They're more. Okay, so like I would expect. Okay, well, not me. Some other people would expect that there would be more kings that would not be happy with just being kings, but they want to be emperors. But queens would probably just be like, this is good. I'm a queen. You know what I mean? There are more kings who would be like, we're gonna, being king is like, is too like cringe. Well, I need to be the ruler of the world, right? Is that's a very male thing, to just want more and just be like, take over, right? You just I don't want to take over everything, and it's bigger, more, right? Like, notice me, world. No, here's a male, very male attitude. Okay, I need to. This is what basically is happening right now in Ukraine. Okay, why is Putin doing this? Okay, he's thinking about his legacy. He wants to, like, he thinks he's the savior of the goddamn of the planet. Okay, it's just it's
Kind of, but
it's
also, regardless of who rules Russia, they need to expand their borders west as much as possible to make their western border as small as possible at
no,
that little choke point
you're
in
what
Europe.
that's an artsy
Irregardless of who's
propaganda.
ruling.
No, this is not about that. It's not about that. It's about saving the world.
That
Okay,
is legitimate interest.
I know, but that's not Putin's arguments. If you listen to what he's saying. Okay.
That's
Anyways,
true.
okay. I'm just saying it's very, very, it's very male to be like wanting to, push things to the limit, and to try to show mine is bigger than yours. I am stronger. I am more
I don't
intelligent. I am
understand. Okay,
tougher.
like,
You don't see the connection to why more male atheists are like open about their atheism. It's not okay. On average, I'm just saying it's like more males.
Not necessarily. Not for those reasons. I would attribute it to other stuff.
I would attribute it to a more rebellious nature of my male. And I know. You know why you don't relate to this, Susanna? But you don't understand this because you are very rebellious, and you're like, because everything I'm telling you about how males are more on average, you're like, but I like those things. So like, how is this? You're like, Susanna is asking to herself, like, how is this all male? Like
Yeah, oh my
that,
God, I
all
get it.
like, I'm a rebel. I don't take shit. I fight. I want to matter. I want to be significant. So you're like, no, those. So Susanna is wondering, none of these things are male. Okay, but again, I'm talking averages, not like individuals. I know you're
I
more
think
like
I think it has less to do with um legacy building and this kind of like hero complex that you're alluding to.
yes,
Um and more to do with the fact that just on average, for whatever reason, people attribute it to different things, either social construction or certain biological proclivities, that men are more interested in the material world, uh, STEM. Like I'm not delusional, right? I look at the analytics of our channel. I know who the audience of any given atheist creator is going to be. It's going to be vastly majority men, right? And
but
I think it has to do with
it's
these
not just
interests
atheism.
in
It's not just atheism. It's
no, it's science
every
and philosophy and mathematics and engineering.
no. It's also every form of like political activism, right? Any form of going against the norm. Like, I think you
But with
in societies where atheism is normalized, you're going to see a lot less difference between the number of female who are openly atheists and male who are openly atheists, right? When it's like an
yes.
act of going against the grain, it's an act of like, you will see more male. They have more of a motivation and more of to come out and be like, screw this crap. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not trying to and it's more is okay. So here's what here's what some people are saying. Some people, not me, okay? I'm kidding. I'm saying it. What I'm suggesting is that women are more submissive on average. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I see how you reach that conclusion. I think um what that could be
Woman,
attributed to is a lot of different things because the authors of this paper attribute
that's what
these differences to social construction
I did
things.
that too. I did that too. I didn't say,
Yeah.
of course. I didn't say it's the only thing. I've said I started by saying social um, pressure on women has a major role. I'm just suggesting that women, on average, submitting to whatever the norm is, also has an impact. Naturally, women, because of having lower testosterone, are more likely to submit to the norms of society.
I think it is not just testosterone. I think
Did
it's
I say it's
being
just testosterone?
no, but I just want to say I think it
Oh,
also has an aspect of just
wait, you froze.
being very consciously aware of your physical ability or lack thereof to
That's
defend yourself. You're just more at the will of
that's
other
what I.
people. So,
So you're saying it's not just nature; it's also society, which is exactly what I said.
yeah, whatever. I'm going to be honest. I'm feeling the pressure just as the woman sitting here to be like,
Yes. Yes. Oh.
no, no, how
I
dare
know.
you? And I'm just like not interested in that. Like, right? Like, sir, I'm just not interested. Okay, I was cracking up when you were saying that because Mujahid is here, and every year on International Women's Day, Jay posts a picture of a dishwashing machine and says "Happy International Women's Day." it makes me laugh so hard. Anyways, and D says it's easier for women to rebel. There are more rules to break. So.
No. Yeah. See, D like Susanna is a natural, well, as a rebel. So, again, if anybody, yeah, she gets it. But if anybody comes at me like, "Oh, I know plenty of women who are very rebellious," I'm not saying you're saying that or D is saying that, but yeah, okay, we're talking about averages, okay. That's like, yeah, I don't even know what to say to people who think like that. Well, I know women who rebel. Look at these women leaders who have like started these revolutions and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I'm not saying they do not exist. Nobody said they do not exist. We're just talking on average. All right, let's continue.
I have like other stuff I could say about this, but
right,
yeah, we'll get into it later. So let's. Ooh, okay. This is an interesting question from Secular Sakai, and this gets really into it. So, Secular Sakai is asking, can you discuss the Proto-Indo-European or the Pi religion as we understand it to have existed? It is the oldest known mythology found by anthropologists aside from Paleolithic religious cults. It is theorized to have birthed concepts that later evolved into or influenced most major religions of the world today, and several important mythologies, including Canaanite, Proto-Greek, ancient Egyptian, ancient Indian, etc. Could comprehensive coverage of how religion evolved help dispel religious myth? Well, to answer your last question, the answer is yes. But the Pi religions are fascinating.
yeah. I mean, technically,
I wish Katie was here because Katie is super knowledgeable about everything Proto-Indo-European.
Yes. I mean, this is the reason why we have Zeus and Jupiter
and Indra.
And Indra, yeah, these are like the same sky daddies. Okay, so whenever you hear Pi or Proto-Indo-European religion, Pi religion or Proto-Indo-European religion, just remember we're referring to sky daddies, okay? Because the way, so is the Proto-Indo-European religion is the evolution of it is recognized by Proto-Indo-European languages, which is because it's so amazing when you look at how words were used and how they evolved. Okay, you learn a lot about how people lived and what mattered to them, right? So it's kind of like language becomes like DNA, like just like how you could use DNA to see like the evolution of animals or like living creatures to see to create a tree of life. You look at how their DNA changed, or you look at the fossil record, right? To look at the evolution of memes, you don't have a DNA. So you have, what do you have? You have architecture, you have like customs, you have culture, but you also have language, right? So especially from much earlier in history when you don't have much to go by, every single word that you realize that these people use will be a eye open, like it would be a window to what mattered to them. And so for example, if you see a culture has like, I don't know, a gazillion different words for horse, you're like, okay, these people really cared about horse. Right? Like if you had like, you have so many words for different weapons, you're like, okay, these people really cared about these people, like war was like constantly on their mind, right?
Like,
So
didn't the Indus Valley civilization have like just like a million words for it's either the chariot or cow? Like,
yeah,
I remember, so interesting.
Yeah. But also you see, like if you keep tracking these words, right, from one, then you like, if you make connections between these words, right, if you can see how these words change, then you would be able to see what culture came from what culture, okay, but also what religion was connected to what religion, because it's so hard to track these things when you don't have any physical, we're talking really early in history, so there's not that much physical evidence to go by. there was not much like people. We didn't have kings writing to each other or like declarations of war and stuff like that. You don't have these things, so you have to go by very little information. So you have to track these words to be like, okay, these people's culture came from like the DC people seem to be connected, and you could also track gods this way, right? So from one culture to another, right? And this is by the way, this is why so many words, for example, in English and Sanskrit are so connected to each other, right? The god, Igni, which is supposed to Agni, which is like the fire god in ancient India or proto-Hindu religion. That word is like ignite, right? The same as so that's connected. But also, like, for example, you could connect all of that. So this is why Iran's culture, right, was also Proto-Indo-European, and right for thousands of years, right until the Arab invasion, right, which all of a sudden a Proto-Indo-European type language and culture was all of a sudden taken over by a Semitic one. So that was like a complete shift in the DNA of Iran, right? But right before that, you could see how the similarities between the Hindu religions and the Persian ones. I mean, because they were mirror images of each other, right? Like you had like the Shudras in Hinduism, which
You
is
mean the
supposed to be
Ashuras?
no, sorry, Ashura, sorry, the Ashuras in Hinduism, which are supposed to be Susanna is on it, like she's like noticing the Ashuras in
And
Hinduism.
not Ashura.
Yeah. No, but that's that's the ahur. So which is supposed to be like the evil or demons, technically. Those are the ahuras in Zoroastrianism, which are supposed to be divine and God, right? And then in Persian religion, the Zoroastrianism, you had the devs, or the legends, or the myth of Iranian. You have the devs, which are supposed to be evil demons, but the devs is the devas, right? In Hinduism, which are supposed to be gods, and that's where the word, by the way, that's where the word divine in English comes from. So you can see, like, actually Persian language and English language and Hindu and Sanskrit language, they're all connected with each other through this Proto-Indo-European language, but also through the religion. So language all of a sudden becomes so closely connected to the religion. And then you could also see sky daddies, right? Like that in Hindu religions, ancient Indian religions, and Greek religions and stuff like that. Okay, so this idea of a sky father, I say sky daddy because it's fun, right? But the idea of a sky father, it connects. It's the early. It's a early model where all these other religions eventually came from, right? This is why in Christianity you see like Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father is the same as Sky Daddy, or Jupiter or Zeus or Indra, right? But
Address
I
me
don't
by
know.
my government, Heavenly Father.
Yeah. Oh, but by the way, this is also why, how you say star in Persian? I don't know if that's because you say setare, right? Or to see, like, Persian and English are connected in some way. Like, how do you say
Wait, say
father?
it slower.
Setare.
Oh,
Star,
interesting.
setare. Okay, how do you say father? So father is how do you the how do you say Pedra? Potter? Like
Padre.
father? Padre. Okay. So
Pater.
father,
Pater is
yeah.
Latin.
So father is Potter and Padre, right? And in Persian, father is Pedar,
Oh.
right? And in Persian, mother is Madar.
And in
So
Latin,
see,
it's mater.
yeah, there you go. So these are all connected. It's amazing. I don't know. Yeah, so people are saying, yeah, Pater, Padre. So father and the father in English and the Pedar in Persian, they're also connected. We need to have a guest going through all of this with each other.
What
With
kind
us.
of, yeah, like an academic? That'd be super
Yeah,
interesting.
that would be super interesting because I know, yeah.
If you guys have suggestions over like who would be a good person to talk to about this kind of thing, please comment and let us know because
Oh,
that'd be
yeah,
fascinating. I just don't even know where to start.
yeah. I mean, this is like we're not talking. We're talking about the history of religion before, like we're not like really early on in history, and we're talking about organized religion, not like the prehistory religion, you know. But the early formations of organized religion, which is so fascinating, how all of this is connected. Yeah. And I think I do agree. A history of religion in general is the one of the most effective people ways of like getting people to realize that all of this is man-made. So I do agree with that.
Mhm. Let's go to the next question. This is a question from Gasian American, and it is too long to fit on the screen, so I'm going to finish reading it over here. Gasian American is asking, the media landscape is now filled with journalists trying to one up one another with flashy graphics and quote unquote debates. Debates have been shown to be relatively ineffective at changing a person's mind. Due to the psychological pressure of being viewed by so many people by both camps, debaters are rarely given a face saving method to publicly admit to an opinion change. Traditional Indonesian culture has a process called musyawarah mufakat that emphasizes consensus building. In Vietnamese elections, politicians are only allowed to state their platform and not allowed to besmirch their opponents. Is there anything we can learn from either traditions to incorporate into our media landscape or politics? And then he attached an academic article about this Indonesian tradition that was
I completely
quite lengthy.
disagree. Okay, so you don't. Okay, so what do you mean the debates have shown to be relatively effective at at changing the person's mind? The
That's true.
I know, but that's just one person with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people watching it. Who gives a crap about that one
No,
individual?
I think there have been studies
No,
that showed that even
I'm
watching a debate
only.
doesn't change your mind as much. I could
I
be
don't.
wrong.
Okay, you could be wrong. Yeah, you are. But okay, so but I'm talking specifically what is being claimed here. Okay, like do you really think like a televised debate or a debate that is on YouTube, if you don't get to change the mind of that one individual in that debate, then then that's your measuring. That's how you measure whether debates are
Well,
successful or not. No, no, no. Let me make my point. It's that like who cares that if that one person, like there are thousands of people watching, hundreds of thousands of people sometimes watching. Okay, so those are the people who are likely to change their mind. And even if most of them don't, like a small percentage of hundreds of thousands of people changing their opinion is very significant. In fact, I would say it's the most effective way of changing people's opinions. Okay, because higher number of people what if you think like 5% of 100,000 people changing their opinion is a failure, then I don't know what you consider success. Okay, because that's 5% is like very significant. Like just because it's not most people, it's still a very high number. The fact that you get so many people watching, right? So here's the thing. Let's say, for example, a more on a percentage wise, it would have been this method would be more successful. Okay. However, a debate, because it's blood sport, you get a higher number of people watching it because it's very interesting to see to watch people go at it. But let's say, I don't know if actually this is true, but let's say a lower percentage of people will end up changing their mind because of watching the debate. Okay, but a lower percentage of a very very higher number could be ending up changing the opinions of more people at the end, right? Again, but you guys are not even talking about that. This question is addressing whether that one individual who is participating in the debate is changing their mind, which is the most insignificant thing for you to consider. Like you have to consider the audience. I mean, how many of you have watched like what was that? What were those debates? The Q2 debates? Q.
oh yeah,
mm,
that happened in London.
yeah, yeah, those were like there were many debate. They had many debates. Every single one of those
I
debates, the
love those.
votes. Yeah, but have you seen any single debate that the percentages of people's opinions at the beginning and the end was the same? every single one of those debates, the numbers changed. People's opinions changed because the people that were participating in debates, almost every single one of them didn't change their mind at the end of the debate, but every single one of those debates, the audience changed their mind because of the debate.
Yes. I kind of agree with Asian and American in the sense that there's just too much evidence for us to believe that we arrive at the beliefs that we have rationally. We know that we make decisions first based off of emotion, and then our executive function comes in and rationalizes it after the fact. So I don't think
Okay, but that's a
debates are
different.
really speaking to our rationality.
Okay, but that's not the question. The question is whether they change people's minds, right? I think more
I don't think,
many.
but what I'm trying to say is I don't think they change their minds on the basis of actually making good points or rationality per se.
I don't agree with that. I think like they are similar to every other method, right? Like I mean similar, you know, depending on the person. So, for example, can you provide me an alternative where it will be more based on rationality? Like I'm saying, like relative to other things, it's more based on rationality, even if it's still mostly based on emotion. Even if it's still mostly based on emotions, relative to other, other propaganda, which is one-sided, which you
Okay,
don't
I
see
agree
people.
with that.
Yeah. So
I agree
it's
with
like,
that.
yeah, and I mean, like, how many ex-Muslims have you heard, seen people like, oh yeah, I changed my mind because I watched you debate Muslims, like how many people come to be like, oh yeah, I was coming into debates for the other side. Like, it has an effect. It has an effect. It cannot not have an effect. Even here in the live chat, look at this. Like, somebody in the live chat is saying, yeah, Mujahid is saying debates helped me change my mind in Islam. It would have helped me sooner if they weren't banned or censored while I grew up in the UAE. There you go. Right? I mean, I think they are the best we have. Actually, you're like, oh, they're not good enough. Show me another method that is
I
as
didn't say
effective.
that.
No, I'm not saying like I'm not saying you. Like I'm thinking the people are like, oh, they're not that good. They are actually the best we have. Like there's no other method that has been more effective at changing people's opinions.
That's a bold claim. I don't know if I'm willing to agree, but it is a very good method. It is a very good method.
Yeah.
It's imperfect. But what do you think about this part about the media landscape and how freaking rotten it is right now? Like,
I mean, I mean, the media landscape is the least rotten it has ever been in history. So if it's rotten, it's because it was always rotten, but now it's the best we have. Like, it's getting so good.
what do you
Well,
mean
not
by
well,
that?
not good. Relatively better. I mean, when has like like people's expectations are increasing. People's noticing hypocrisies more than ever before in history. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Propaganda is noticed as propaganda more than ever in history before. Right? Bad practices are called out more than ever in history ever before. Right? So yeah, and this media is under pressure for being called out all the time for their bad practices. So you might say it's bad, but it's improving at a very fast rate and it's better than it has ever been before.
What would
People,
you say
and
to
they have to
people who?
compete with, yeah, they have to compete with social media and all other forms of people getting their information. So I mean, never have people been so fast at being able to call out BS,
Mhm.
and then so that puts media under pressure. But yeah, go on.
That's true. Um, but there are a lot of people frustrated with and openly disgusted by the, especially within the past 10 to 15 years, the dissolution of um journalist journalism's ethic or integrity in terms of just presenting a story objectively to the best of their ability, like how journalists have, some people call them just an activist class now. They're just pushing a narrative that they want popularized, not actually just reporting.
Well, I mean, we have depends on the journalists. We have many journalists who are extremely sensitive of not doing that,
Well, of
and
course, but they're saying that the proportion of who that is way smaller than it used to be.
Um, I don't know. Like, what? Can somebody show me the study for that? But I don't know. But here's the thing. I think we need both. I think the problem is the journalist who has an agenda who doesn't state its agenda. Okay, but if I
That
but
would be most
that's
of
a
them.
no. But like we have many journalists who are like, yeah, I am biased. Okay, like this is my bias. I have like so that's it. I like having journalists who are like, you know what, I am going to try not to be biased as but I'm going to be try to be just reporting the facts and nothing but the facts. Okay, but I don't mind having activist journalists who are clearly activist journalists. You know what I mean? Like I am reporting this because I am against I don't know this, and I want to expose them. Okay, so
But it's
you're
not
not
like
okay.
that. Have you seen CNN? Like what Don Lemon talks about? It's not
Okay,
framed
Don.
like that at all.
Okay, I'm sorry. Don Lemon is obviously biased, and he makes it like it's obvious that he has an agenda. Okay, he doesn't hide that.
This is the difference. He's not making that disclosure like you were giving that example of at
But
all. Or
okay,
that
but is it not
Chris
obvious?
Cuomo.
Like, is it not obvious? Like that he has an agenda? Like, is it hidden to
It
people? Like,
is
I'm thinking.
it is obvious, but that is very different from what you were saying of being outspoken and transparent about this is what I want to cover, this is why.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that. I think like giving. I don't know if I about individual examples. I think I'm talking about general trends, and I think if anybody wants to make a claim that it has been, it's worse than before. Like, have you met before? Right? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So, but they need to provide like a citation or something. I don't know.
I need the source, please.
Yeah.
Um okay. The next question is from Rudresh asking, we went from the age of empires to the age of nation states. With capitalism and globalization, do you think the concept of nation states will be obsolete as everything becomes part of a market? I think it'll become more obsolete because of Web 3.0.
Really? I was gonna say that, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, here he goes again." I don't know. Like, well, not yeah.
Or
Wow,
is that would that
Susanna.
still be would that answer yes to his question because it would be the market driving that change?
Yes. So yes, technically yes, it would be a yes to his question. So you're saying yes. Yeah, I do think the nation states were one of the best inventions by man, right? The fact that we went from empires to nation states has made the world a lot more stable. So thank you, Western Europeans, for introducing that concept to the world. But if I do agree that at some point, I mean, it's impossible. I think it's impossible for nation states to be a thing forever, right? Like, I mean, at some point we're going to evolve out of it, right? And something else will replace it, right? And whatever replaces the concept of a nation state is going to be determined by demand, and what determines demand is what what can determine what the demand is better than the market? Nothing can, right? So if that's what you mean by and if and it's a global market. So if that's what you mean with capitalism and globalization, yes, then I agree. The market will come up with a better product than the product that is the nation state. Okay, and I think given that the world is going to be mostly online at some point, right? At some point we will be more online than offline, then it would make sense that whatever replaces the concept of a nation state, it would be a concept that would be defined, in the metaverse. So I agree with that.
Okay. Oh, wait, this is related to the last question, but I think this is good. D is also saying Atheist Republic news is biased as well. And it's
Of
true.
course,
Our
it's
news show is
very.
biased, but
Oh, you froze.
this is the difference. When we talk about these issues, we constantly say this is our bias.
I like how when you freeze, we don't miss anything because it just speeds up everything you said and you catch up to where you were. So this is I don't know why this is happening, but I don't know if it's just freezing for me or for everyone else.
No,
But today
it's my computer.
today this is a good kind of freezing. So you don't have to repeat yourself. For some reason it just goes speeds run through everything we missed. So
well, and you love that because you wish people spoke at double speed anyways.
yeah. Okay.
So next question is from Secular Sakai, and it has to do with a coup attempt in 1990 in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you know anything about this?
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about this, so I don't know if we're going to be able to answer anything about this.
Secular Sakai, I didn't have time to research that this week, and I'm sorry because you asked some pretty niche questions. I'm not gonna lie. Can you ask this again next week?
I do. Why are you being so specific with these questions? Like, this is interesting.
I always learn something. I'm always like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay. But with these niche questions, straight up, like, you should not be expecting me to bring you new information because I'll probably be researching it for the first time. So it'll be more like my take on it than informing you.
Yeah.
So next question is from Gasian American. And he's asking, the Communist Party of Russia is the second largest party in Russia after United Russia. What are the odds of a China-backed communist revolution should the Russian Federation dissolve? Or a communist Siberian Russia and Western oligarchy Russia?
Very low, I think.
What makes you say that?
I don't think. I think that whatever popularity the Communist Party of Russia has is going to remain that. If people, it's not like people just because they're second biggest. That doesn't mean if people lose the first party, they're going to be like, oh, let's look up what the second one is and join. All of us support that. I think whatever that the support they have, that's their ceiling. It's not going to increase. People are not going to jump ship to that if they lose the support for other ones. Okay,
so what about the possibility of influence from China, especially since Russia's
China is not
more like it'll just become a client state?
Why would China? China is not a communist
that's a good
country.
Point.
And China would be against the interests of China to spread communism, given how much they're invested in global markets and everything. Why would they do that? Why would they shoot their? China's interest in Russia would be for Russia to become desperate. Okay, so what's happening in Russia right now is good and bad news for China. Okay. So bad news is because China doesn't like this instability. China doesn't like to have to take his side right now because, first of all, they don't want to take the side of Western countries, but they also don't want to come out in support of Russia because their entire philosophy of foreign policy of China is that we respect borders and you do not meddle in other countries' affairs, right? So it's like it would go against their everything they have been preaching if they come out and directly support Russia. Like, what the hell, China? What happened to you being like nobody should meddle in other people's countries and we have to respect the borders? Because this is very picky on there, especially because of Taiwan and Hong Kong. They're like, yeah, you do not tell us what to do. These are our borders and this is none of your business. And this is our philosophy everywhere in the world. Okay. And we're going to support that everywhere in the world. And like now all of a sudden with Russia, like, yeesh, we don't want to take the US side on this, right? So that's the reason why it's kind of a bad news for China. But also it's a good news for China is because everything is on sale in Russia, okay? Russia is about to become a proxy of the CCP. If
that's what I was saying, a client state.
Yeah, it's becoming, if we keep going like this, Russia is going to become China's bitch at this point, okay? So because everybody has shut their doors to Russia, and China is like, come to Papa, come to Papa. Here, like, I'll take you in. You could just be my little bitch, and I'll tell you what to do. Okay. So like, so this is like, I mean, and Putin knows that China is not like a partner to Russia. Putin knows like we're Russia is becoming to China what Iran is to Russia. Okay. So, and they know how much more significant China's power and economy is compared to Russia.
Oh, that's a
So,
good point. That puts
yeah.
Iran like third down the totem pole.
Yeah,
That's a bad place
exactly.
to be. When you're the bitch of a bitch,
Yeah.
that's no good.
Oh my god. Oh no. That's sad. Yeah.
That's so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting. We should
Look
have a
at this.
stream about how this is going to impact Iran, because I just sent you that video of Fatima Hashemi talking about how, like, Iran is becoming a colony of China and Russia. Like,
Right.
it's a
Read
huge
this.
source of resentment.
Read this one.
China seeing a collapsing Russia. It's free real estate.
No, you should read it in the. You don't know the meme? I don't know.
No.
I can't do it. Okay, okay. It's real. Okay, I'll send you the meme after. Okay, but if you knew it, you would be able. You would be the best person to make the impression. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's a meme. Okay. All right, let's move on.
It's like, no one wants to be the bitch's bitch.
Oh no, this is
Oh
sad. This is
no.
funny. It's sad. So sad for Iranian people, unfortunately. But yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's
Next
move on.
question from Rudresh is, why are some so-called leftists seeing this Russia conflict and fantasizing of a multipolar world as if it is an objectively better thing than the current Western unipolar world? These people enjoy seeing the West losing, though all of them live in the West. I think
Okay,
this
let's
is
just make.
what.
Yeah,
Okay.
go on. No, you go on.
No, I was
What did
gonna
you say?
say I'll let you have it.
No, I think this is a huge misrepresentation. I mean, you're saying, why are some? Okay, you said some, okay? But let's be clear. We're talking tankies here, okay? Because I think a lot of leftists are being grouped with these tankies too often, okay? I mean, if anything, as a percentage, it's more right-leaning people who are liking Putin than left-leaning people, okay? On
But I don't
average.
think the right leaning people necessarily like him because he is disrupting the unipolar liberal world order.
They like
I
they
think they
like
like him
him
because
because
of his nationalism, his traditionalism, stuff like that.
yes, you're right.
His
You're right.
rejection of modernity,
Yes.
not
But
for creating a multipolar world order.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's most right-leaning people, but then when you go far right, they also like the fact that he's crushing, because far right and far left, they both hate the West and they hate modernity. Both far right and far left hate modernity and hate this new world order, the liberal world order, right? Both of them hate the liberal world order. Is Susanna frozen for me? Oh no, yeah. You okay? So they like having a global power challenging that, right? So we have a lot of right-leaning people who like Putin because of his traditionalism, and also his nationalism. Okay, and then we have a fringe far-right people and a fringe far-left people who also like his challenging of modernity and maybe expansionist attitudes and fighting globalism. All right, literally the thing that has saved the world, right? And fighting, fighting the world liberal order, right? This is what the far left and the far right like about it. So yeah, but average leftists don't celebrate that.
But you're not answering the question, which is, what is with this desire, or
We did.
perhaps delusion about the benefit of a multipolar world. You're a simp for the American hegemon. Go for it.
But well, okay. I'm not a simp for them because I criticize them, but
I'm
it's the best
kidding.
we have right now. Yeah. Okay. So, um, so they think what they think is that this new liberal world order has completely deranged the natural order of everything. It basically has sucked out the wholesomeness out of everything that we considered worthy of celebrating, you know, like the motherhood itself is under attack, you know what I mean? Family,
I
you
don't
know,
think
every did you
he's
think that
talking
no?
about lefty, not right wingers. That would be a right winger criticism.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm so well. I'm talking about both of them. Okay, so far left, far leftists. Okay, they hate. Um, okay, so
Imperialism, American
yeah.
imperialism.
Capital. They see capitalism and imperialism. Yeah. So
Yes.
what the right leaning people look, the far right like people, they look at this, Western hegemon around the world, and they look at they see degeneracy and globalism. Okay. um the far left people, they look at this liberal hegemon and they see capitalism, imperialism, but also globalism. Okay, so the thing that they both of them hate that is the same is the globalism aspect. Okay, um but capitalism, one of them hates the capitalism and imperialist nature of it, the other one hates the degeneracy, and also there's a whole bunch of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories from the, I don't know if, I think that's both sides. Oh yeah, so both sides is also sees a whole bunch of Jewish involvement, and also globalism. So that's also both sides. So the difference is one of them keeps mentioning capitalism and imperialism. The other side keeps mentioning um, degeneracy and liberalism and the destruction of traditional values. And they both hate it. So they both want that to be challenged. They want to see a force in the world that would challenge that, to bring they're basically doing the Thanos thing, right? They think like it can't just be one superpower deciding all of this. Everything would be out of balance if you have a one-sided superpower. They think like there should be it's a yin yang thing, right? There needs to be a correcting force at the other side that is challenging all that.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically are like Thanos. They're like everything should be in balance. Like I don't know but is Thanos, what's Thanos
The
quote?
counterweight.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact
I
quote
don't know.
was.
I didn't watch that movie.
Yeah. All right. So
Eric Olson is saying
like
capitalism is not imperialist. Governments are imperialist. Big difference. No, we understand that, but these people
we
just
know that
group them.
we're talking about what they are saying. We're not claiming any of these things. Yeah.
Okay.
So
next.
to be clear, to be clear to Eric, a lot of these people think capitalism is a force of imperialism. Like modern neo-imperialism is done through capitalism. So that's what they think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So next question is also from Adresh asking, don't you think Trump was objectively better than Biden on Russia? He cut off Nord Stream before.
Are you serious?
I know, right? He cut off Nord Stream before, and Russia never invaded during his presidency. Though it would be worthwhile to see Trump declare a nuclear war over Twitter. He's full instinct and impulse and less calculated.
Guys, are you serious? You're saying, okay, so Putin has plans to invade countries, and because it didn't happen during the 4 years Trump was in power, because Putin, for some reason, is not doing wars like invading countries once every 2 years. You just think that had to do with Trump being in power? Do you really think that it had to do? What do you expect from Putin? Because you expect from Putin to make sure that his plans of attacks on countries are happening less than once every 4 years? with no distance, you think like it's related to Trump being in power? It has. Do you think? Okay, the attack on Ukraine, based on everything Putin has said, okay, it's almost obvious that all of this was his plan from a very long time. Okay, this was his eventual goal to take Ukraine into Russia. Okay, I don't think he would not go with this plan if Trump was in office. These were pre-planned. It has nothing to do with Biden being in power rather than Trump being in power. Okay? If anything, it would have been so much easier for Putin if Trump was in power. And Putin knows it. He just had to continue because this was his goal. It would have been easier if it was Trump. This is why Russia wanted Trump in office. Are you really suggesting it would have been better under Trump, the person that openly declared that he trusts Putin more than his own intelligence agencies? Are you serious? Who is suggesting this? Are you guys insane? Are you not watching what happened? Did you not see that Trump openly became a propaganda mouth for everything the Kremlin was saying, including blaming Ukraine for being anti-Trump and coming up with the weirdest, most bizarre conspiracy theories about how Ukraine is trying to attack Trump? Have you guys not seen those? Even the craziest of Putin fans do not say that level, are not spreading that level of conspiracy. He was becoming a mouthpiece for Putin. You're saying he would have been better? He would have been like, oh, Putin would like, oh no, Trump is in office. I better cancel my multi-decade plan of attacking Ukraine. Literally, the person in White House that is my bitch is all of a sudden is going to make me stop attacking Ukraine? Are you guys serious? What are you talking about? Biden has been, if you could compliment Biden about anything, it would be this. He has united the world against Putin. This is the only thing that Biden is getting an A.
I think Putin united the world against Putin.
Like, I know, but Europe was being like, oh, maybe we need to get, like, it was Biden that basically, okay.
The EU rallied very quickly.
After the attack. Attack, United States was ahead of everybody before the attack. Okay, United States was pressuring everybody to be like, we can't have this, and they were like, like Biden was like listening to his intelligence officers, like the attack is going to happen, and Biden took it seriously. What do you think would happen if Trump is in power and the intelligence officers were saying like, hey, Putin is about to do this? Trump would come and like, well, I don't believe my Putin. I got a call from Putin, and he was very. I believed him. I could just hear his voice. I know, like guys, it would be an embarrassment. Guys, no president has been crazy enough ever to come out and say, I believe another leader of another country over my own intelligence officer. Even if that is true, you would not be insane enough to come out and say that in public. Trump was a mess. Trump was the biggest mess that could have ever happened, like in recent history in United States. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. Like, if you have this view, oh, I'm sorry, Rish. Rish is like became look up, but it's Rish. I'm sorry.
Rish just became a patron. Okay, be nice to him.
Is it Rish? Like, people are like, wow, this is the treatment we get if we become patrons. Jesus Christ! But I'm serious, guys. Like, no, okay, Trump would have not been better. It's very clear. Okay, it's very, very obvious. And guess what? Hey, we're actually gonna go and it seems like based on polls, we might have Trump another 4 years of Trump. Okay, so. We'll see. We'll get the answer. I'm pretty sure Putin's unless something happens to Putin, we're gonna have all of this chaos with Putin and Ukraine for the foreseeable future. Like, this is not like something that is gonna finish very soon. And it also seems like it's very possible that Trump is gonna come back to the Oval Office. So we'll see how he does with Putin carrying out this mess and Trump back in power.
God help me.
Yeah.
Secular Rare to say, nah, Redresh understands that being yelled at by Armin is a rite of passage. True. Mario is saying, so if I'm a masochist and I want to be bullied by Armin, all I have to do is become a patron? Interesting. For as little as $1 a month, you too can get this treatment. Link in the description. So next we have a question from Oxymoron, and it has to do with love jihad laws. So the context is, for those who don't know, in India, there are 11 states in India that either have or have proposed laws that have been nicknamed love jihad laws that are equivalent to like an anti-miscegenation law, in my opinion, which is like an anti-race mixing law. They are ostensibly against forced conversion, but really they criminalize conversion in many cases altogether. And it depends state to state, but many of them mandate that you register with your local magistrate your conversion to a different religion. It's like 30 days in advance, especially in relation to converting for the sake of marriage. And it has to do with a right-wing conspiracy theory that Muslims are forcibly converting Hindu girls in India. And then he's contrasting this to anti-caste discrimination policies in the United States. So, with the context, Oxymoron is asking, how are things like the love jihad laws of India any different from anti-caste laws of the US? Well, first of all, you're wrong. To my knowledge, there's not a single anti-caste law in the US. There is one university system that has it as a policy within their anti-discrimination policies. And then a few colleges littered around the US that have similar policies. But these are only policies on college campuses. These are not laws. Big, 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 big difference. Continuing. Even though they are flowered with secular grammar, both profile people on the basis of their faith. Both are explicitly designed to intimidate a community. Both are based on anecdotal evidence. Both attempt to violate principle of innocent until proven guilty. Both narratives are proposed by inferiority complex ridden anti-Muslim / anti-Hindu elements. Well, like I said before, you're just wrong about the law part. It's just not. These are
all of the. You're wrong about everything.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, one of them is trying to stop discrimination. One of them promotes discrimination. So there's that. Okay. It does. It doesn't target people. So the one in the United States is telling people that you cannot discriminate. Okay, regardless of your faith. Right. So the other one actively tries to discriminate based on faith. So that they're actually the mirror image, the polar opposites of each other, right? One of them says you can't use your religion as a way to discriminate against other people. The other one is saying like, no, you cannot discriminate on people based on their religion or lack of their religion. Okay. So for example, if you say like, hey, if I have a law that says you cannot use Christianity as an excuse to not treat gay people at your restaurant, that's against the law. Okay. If you say like, and then if I have another law that says you cannot have a restaurant that says we do not serve Christians here, okay, you cannot say like, oh, these are the same, because both of them, one of them is discriminating against Christians because it's stopping them from discriminating, right? And the other one is also discriminating against Christians because it's not letting you serve Christians. No, these are just, you could protect Christians against oppression, but also have laws that makes it clear that Christians cannot use their religion as a form of discrimination. Doesn't make them the same. It's actually it doesn't make it doesn't make it hypocritical, because at the end of the day, you're against discrimination against group of people, but you're including religious people, but you're also against allowing religious people to use their religion as a form of discrimination, right? You're also wrong here when you're saying they're all explicitly designed to intimidate the community. Okay, one of them is intimidating a community, like so first of all, I'm glad that we have like a Hinduta sympathizer.
One of them is
I agree.
intimidating the community by saying you can't use caste-based slurs
Right, like if that yeah, I mean, I like laws
in a
that
college
intimidate.
setting.
I
That's
like law. No, hold on. That is intimidation. That is intimidation. I agree with him. It's a good form of intimidation. In the same way that we have laws that intimidates people from not doing illegal stuff, right? If you think like the red light is intimidating you from not passing, okay, so that you don't cause accidents, that's a good form of intimidation, right? If you think like we have laws against murder, is that intimidating people not to commit murder? Yeah, and that's a good thing, okay? The other one, but if you agree the other one is also a form of intimidation, I'm glad that you are agreeing with us that love jihads are like barbaric, and India's lawmakers need to be ashamed, and it's disgusting what's happening in India with these love jihad laws. So I'm happy that it seems like you agree with us on that, right? You're saying both are based on anecdotal evidence. None of them are based on, what do you mean anecdotal? Like, so our criticism with the India one is like, people are having interfaith marriage. So yeah, I guess the anecdotal part is based on an anecdote, like the conspiracy.
Anecdotal evidence of the love jihad conspiracy theory.
Because okay, yeah, so I agree with that. Okay, but the other one, how is that anecdotal evidence? Caste
they
discrimination.
would say that it is caste oppressed students coming forward to their administrators the anecdotal experience of caste-based oppression to push for these policies.
Let me be clear. Even if there was not a single situation, having this law just
it's not a law,
it's
a policy.
So a policy, having this policy just for making it clear that a university is against it, is very valuable. So even if it's anecdotal, this is not an issue. Like, even if it's less than anecdotal, even if it was 0 cases, it would still be a valuable policy. But caste-based discrimination, we all know, is a real thing, and that's not anecdotal. Both attempt to violate principle of innocent to proven guilty. I don't think I agree with that, because I don't think the policy in the university, which Susanna made clear. Thank you, Susanna, for being clear on that. That I wouldn't have noticed this mistake. That is a policy, not a law. But I don't think they're like accusing people who are not doing discrimination. Like, you have to actually prove that discrimination happened. The policy itself is not saying like, oh, we're just going to assume everybody's guilty. You actually have to. The policy itself is there, and then if you find somebody that is doing discrimination, then you have to prove that they're doing discrimination. So do you think
to be fair, the way that the universities in general handle issues is not good. Like, I have seen sexual harassment or actual assault cases handled by just butchered by the universities on both sides, by people who were falsely accused and people who were actually coming forward with real issues.
So that would be a problem with the execution. That would be a problem with the execution.
Yes,
but the policy itself could be good or bad, right? Maybe the policy, if it's written badly, it could lead into situations where they are too many people are found guilty when they're not guilty, right? I don't know about how the policy was written. Maybe that criticism is a fair one. Okay, but again, yeah. Most of what you said is completely wrong.
What do you think
thank you for being a patron. Yeah, go on.
What do you think about this saying that both narratives are really pushed forward and propelled by inferiority complexes, riddled with anti-Muslim and anti-Hindu elements?
One of them is because of inferiority complex. The other one is stopping people from considering others as inferior. So how is the other one inferiority? How is the policy
not stopping them? It is creating consequences for treating others as inferior.
Yeah. So how is it? Because like it's How is the university policy because of inferiority complex? How?
Well, because they're pointing to the involvement of Equality Labs, which is a Dalit-led organization that people hate and call anti-Hindu.
They Yeah, but that's not inferiority complex. Those are people who have been declared as inferior by others. They don't. It's the opposite of inferiority complex. Inferiority complex is when you yourself see yourself as inferior. Okay, those organizations are saying the opposite of that. They're saying that we are not inferior. How is an organization that is saying that we are not inferior has an inferiority conflict? I think you are misspeaking. I think you are confusing the victimhood narrative with inferiority complex. I think you wanted to say victimhood narrative, but you actually said inferiority complex, because an organization that is stopping, that is coming out and saying like they're treating us like this and they shouldn't, that is the polar opposite of an inferiority complex. So get your accusations right. I mean, I don't agree that they have a victimhood narrative or something. I think they're right. I mean, dollars are oppressed. But even if you wanted to like accuse them of something, that's what you should have accused them of. If you wanted to be.
Well, it's not even exclusively Dalits; it's also other lower castes as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're all standing up and saying like we are not less than you. So how is that an inferiority complex? It doesn't make any sense. All right.
So this is a little bit much to get into. I'll try to summarize it. So the context of this, I believe, is a time when we were talking to Hindutva nationalists in a live chat, and they were basically talking about the percentage of the Muslim population in India and saying, oh, it's easy for you to talk about this issue when you live in North America, where the percentage of your population of Muslims is below 10%. But here our population is approaching 20%. I think it's in India, it's actually 13 to 14%. So that's the context. And you had a lot of pushback for that, and you're saying like that's very bigoted, and I probably jumped on that train. So Oxymoron is saying argument was made that it's bigoted to determine the threat to a nation based on percentage of population. Do you actually believe that in third world pre-industrial civilization with minimal law and order, that it is secularism that separates India from Pakistan? There was no secularism in pre-British India, and there was a very stark difference between how Hindus treated Muslims and
Oh, you froze.
How Muslims, Hindus suffered in modern Islamic republics.
Wait, can you go back a little bit? There was no difference because you froze a little bit. There was no difference. What?
I mean, you can read it. There's a stark difference between how minority Muslims are treated in a Hindu majority country versus how minority Hindus are treated in a Muslim majority country. For example, the Hindu monarchy of Nepal versus how Hindus suffer under modern Islamic republics.
Yeah, we also had some Islamic. India has examples of Islamic rulers who are very, very brutal to Hindus, and also Islamic rulers who are very, very kind to Hindus and wanted to try to create peace between Hindus and Muslims. So we have examples of both of that, right? What was the guys? Please remind me in the live chat. What was that ruler in India who was like Muslim, but he was like was very much into Hindu-Muslim unity? What was his name? Do you guys know?
I think people just like him because he had cool architecture.
No, but he was also like really, really. Yeah, Akbar, Mughal Emperor Akbar. Okay, Akbar. Yes, Akbar. So there's examples of the. Yeah. No, I mean,
stick on this central question or argument about, is it bigoted to determine a threat to a nation's security based on the percentage within a population of a minority group?
What I remember saying, what I would remember saying was that you're like, it's easy for somebody mentioned it's easy for you to say that living in places where the percentage of Muslims are lower, right? And I said that, I had the same view when I was living in Iran, so I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think, like, what is this question suggesting? That it's okay to be bigoted towards Muslim once you hit a certain percentage of Muslims in your country? Is that what you're
Like a
suggesting?
certain percentage of them is inherently dangerous and a threat to your nation.
Well, okay, so
They're also
what is
using a
hold
historical
on.
argument that when the Muslims have been in the majority, the Hindus have been
So
severely
let me
oppressed.
let me tell you, if it's dangerous to have a high percentage of your country be deluded, then you should stop being bigoted to them, because you're helping the delusion increase. Because so it doesn't follow, like, you're like, oh, I agree with you that more people believing in Islam is bad for a country, okay, and that's why you should not be bigoted towards them, because you're shooting yourself in the foot by being, because being bigoted towards Muslim does not fight Islam, it fights Muslims. Okay. In
Hmm.
fact, I wouldn't just say that about Islam.
Yeah.
I would agree that a high percentage of any form of delusion in any country is bad for the country. Okay. Especially Islam. Okay. Islam is really bad. It's high up there, above many other delusions. Okay. But I'm not gonna say, like, oh, the percentage of Muslims in your country went from 5 to 20. It doesn't matter. It matters. It's horrible. Okay? It's horrible. I agree that that's a bad thing. I agree that that's dangerous for a country. I would also agree that if the percentage of delusions in Hinduism went from 5 to 50%, that's also horrible. Christianity also increasing, that's also horrible. I would not be celebrating that. Okay? But it would be more dangerous if Islam was higher. Yes, I agree with that. Okay? But you're not going to be able to fight that by bigotry against Muslims. In fact, you're encouraging it. You're isolating them. You're demonizing them. You're separating them from the rest of society. You're making enemies out of them. You're segregating them. You know what? How do you want to fight that? How do you want to fight that? If the best way to fight Islam is to befriend Muslims. Accept them in your society. Treat them as friends. Be nice to them. How else are you going to be able to fight bad ideas? You want to fight people? Do you think I could punch Islam out of someone? Huh? Do you think I could, like, make people? You think I could make people less Muslim by being mean to them? It's the opposite. If you ever want to create a dialogue, harmony, and make people less, even Muslim. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not saying people are just going to leave Islam if you become friends with them. Okay, but Muslims are not. It's like be how Islamic Muslims are. It's not like black and white. Okay, Muslims are not like robots where you just just put the Islam virus in them and all of a sudden be like, oh, Allahu Akbar, give me the Quran code. It's not. It doesn't work like that. Okay, there.
You just
The
plug in the
level.
Quran and they just.
Yes, yeah, like the level of Islam in every Muslim is like on a spectrum. Okay, if you include Muslims in the rest of society and welcome them, the level of influence of all these other ideologies and all these other sources of influence is going to compete with the Islam in their life. Okay, so if you're concerned about Islam, be nice to Muslims. Okay, do not otherize them, do not segregate them. I mean, technically you should be nice to Muslims just because you should be a nice person and not be a dick. Okay, but if you're just not a nice person and your only agenda is to stop Islam, okay, even if that's your only agenda, then you should still also be nice to Muslims. Okay, not maybe be nice to Muslims because your ultimate goal is to defeat Islam. Okay, even if that's your only motivation, then go be nice to them. Okay, do not alienate them. Do not if you do that, if you want to treat them like all of them as a collective, as a threat, you are responsible. You are part of the reason why they're becoming more radical. You are radicalism. You're a force of radicalization.
Wait, I just want to say that Mario just became a patron.
Oh wow! Thank you so much.
Thank you
That's
for
very
becoming a
sweet.
patron, Mario. Saying, how do I
Oh
send a message? I just became a patron. Sorry, it's my first time using the platform. Well, that's exciting to know that you're the first people, that we are the first people that you're supporting on Patreon. That's amazing.
oh
Um, I haven't used the user side of Patreon for a long time. I
okay.
think you just like click on our name and you should see something about like message the creator.
Yes. Okay. So I think what you're actually asking is how do you send questions for our patron questions, right? So every week, so if you can message us directly, and then I'll every once in a while I'll go and respond to your messages, right? I should do that more often. I will do that more often now that I'm recovering from my surgery and everything. But um, but to get the questions for our Q&A, to get your questions in our Q&A, every time we post, like a day before our Q&A, we post the link to our Q&A on Patreon, and in the comment section you could post your questions, right? So I could actually show it to you guys, right? So here, let me go to Atheist Republic Patreon page and zoom out a little bit. Okay. Oh my god, I can't show that. Our art is there. I have to be careful. Okay, let me be very careful because we have if I show that, okay, look, warning guys, by the way, if you become a patron, you're going to get nude blasphemous art, okay? So that's another reason to be a patron. But just like, you're going to get a lot of nude blasphemous art, okay? So that's another, and that's only available to our patrons as well. I don't know if that's a motivation or demotivation, but there's that depending on the person. All right, here. So you can see like we have a post to our Ask Us Anything, right? So every week we post one of these, and then people post their questions under that, and that's how we get the questions, right? Oh, here, you actually figured it out.
Wait, it says hello from here. I just became a patron. Will I receive the rough Armin treatment now? I'm dead.
You got it. You figured that. You figured how it works.
Well, are you gonna do what the man is asking? Are you gonna give it to him rough or not?
I mean, you have to ask a stupid question.
You have to say something stupid first.
I don't know if it works if I know you're trying to get like it has to be natural. I'm not going to be able to act or anything like that. Yeah,
That's
I have
hilarious.
to not know that you're. I have to not know that you're just asking it to get a reaction out of me. Because if I know that that's what you're doing, then I'm not going to have that like
Well, yeah,
organic response. Yeah,
you'll forget by the next
Uh,
Q&A anyways.
yeah.
So it'll be fine. Yes. We gotta come up with a safe word first, okay? That's true, guys. That's what we promote here. Mustafa is saying Armin would make a good Dom.
I would not make a good Dom. I am a good Dom.
Get it straight. Yeah. Okay. So this is our last patron question. So Music Guy is asking thoughts on Ayatollah Khamenei's new fatwa that bans fake likes, purchased likes and follows on social media. We're actually going to talk about this on the next news show that we do in more depth because that just happened today, and it's hilarious.
Okay, once again, I read something about Iran, and I'm like, what? When did this happen? And Susanna was like, oh yeah, this happened. Okay, this is not okay. This is not okay. Like Iran is supposed to be like my thing that I'm aware of.
I only knew this because of Music Guy, so really, it's Music Guy
okay.
that we have to be afraid of, not me.
Yeah, actually, both of you are kind of like scarier now. Music Guy is also too aware of everything. He asks questions, and I'm like, wait, when did this happen? I'm like, how did I not hear about this? And then I look at it; it happened like literally a few hours ago. So I'm like, yeah,
like less than 24 hours ago.
Less than 24 hours ago. Okay, so we have to like look at this. Is this actually true? Like, there's actually a fatwa on banning fake likes and follows by Khamenei himself.
Yes. Well, but long story short, he had people are asking him questions, and then he just like returns his answers to these questions, and like that was his ruling. Okay, so now everyone has to follow this.
Given that Susanna is a Shia expert here, okay, isn't a fatwa like more official than you just saying, yeah, I don't like it? Like, don't you, isn't like a stamp of like declaration and you put it on the Khamenei's website and you declare it a fatwa? I thought like there's like more ceremonial.
Okay, so I
I
haven't
don't
looked
think
all
like.
the way into it. I was just reading briefly. But he is a marja,
Yeah,
and this is what he's saying. So
I thought
his
like
marjia
I
has
didn't
to follow this.
like. Okay, so like if Khamenei says like to his wife like don't put salt, you put too much salt in my food, don't put too much salt in my food, would that become a fatwa? I think there's like fatwas is like a little bit more official. um I think
Give
fatwas
me
is
some
like,
formality, okay?
yeah, some like there's some flair and some like I don't know, like you put like something, I don't know, yeah, I think like I don't think that's a fatwa. I don't think if he just says like, yeah, I don't like fake. By the way, this is so hypocritical. Like I was gonna say, like, how could you even say ban fake likes and follows? You guys are against Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, even though you literally they ban Twitter and they also have an official Twitter account, right? So Khamenei is like, oh, Twitter is banned in Iran. Oh, and here's my official Twitter account. So like it's so like oh my
Yeah.
god, but they also have their own social media, so that comment doesn't, they're trying to compete with American and Chinese social media. They are they're about, I think they're like YouTube is banned, Facebook is banned, Twitter is banned. Instagram is so popular in Iran that they want to ban Instagram, but they're afraid of the backlash. They want to like put a ban, like block on Instagram, but there's so many businesses and so many young people that depend on Instagram right now that might actually start if you ban Instagram, I wonder if that would start a revolution in Iran. Okay. Also Clubhouse is right now very, very
Yes.
popular, which is the
Guys,
reason.
Armin is blowing up on Clubhouse.
Not I don't know about that, but yeah, I'm becoming more active on Clubhouse, but in Persian. So I
Yes.
don't know.
No.
Yes.
You're gaining a big audience
Well,
there. Like, don't
not
play.
yet. No, I'm just starting good. I haven't. It's not that. Is yeah. So it's getting good. Like okay. It's starting to get good. Yes, yes, yes. But thank you for telling.
I mean, you said that you told me that people are saying that they now
No, no, no.
call.
Shh. No, 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 no. Don't. Those are private. I will let me tell me
Okay,
before.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, okay, okay.
I
All
thought
right.
that was
Cool.
so cute.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, see, Gossip agrees with me, saying Armin is rocking Clubhouse. I
Thank you,
I was
Doctor.
trying to get Armin to do little blurbs about or segments where he gives us an update on the drama in the Persian atheist community, because
Mm.
I get the updates and I find it so entertaining. There is so much drama going on right now, and I wish like we could talk about it on the show because I love it. I mean I love talking about it. I'm like,
Man.
oh my god! And then he showed up and said this, and then Babak kicked him out, and then at the end, Varia showed up, and we were like, "Oh my!" Like, I,
I don't know. I don't know if people would be that interested in that. Yeah, it's too niche for Pierre, but yeah, okay. All right. I think we've finished the Patreon questions. But yeah,
yes,
but music guy, we're gonna go through that.
on the
Um,
news, and that's when
on the
I'm gonna
news, we're gonna
like
go
dig
through.
more into like how legit is
Yeah, yeah.
this fatwa? Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah. Okay.
Um. Oops. So, there was a
I think
very
we're good.
interesting.
Okay, so let's do just only like one or two live chat questions
Yes.
because we're already guys. See, like we're getting so many Patreon questions that the live chat questions we're not going to be able to do as much as before anymore. So at some point we're gonna get to a place where we're probably only going to be able to answer our Patreon questions, right? So if you want to participate in our Q&A, please consider becoming a Patreon. Link in the description. We'll try to get like one or two live chat questions as well, but no promises. Okay?
Yes. So this is very interesting, and this will be brief. Wait, where did it go? Arthur is
Wait,
asking.
sorry, can we do this one first?
Yes, Secular Sakai is saying manual super chat donated $12 to GoFundMe. Thank you, Secular Sakai. I love your manual super chats.
Mm.
Saying mini question: what is your favorite color? What is your favorite color, Armin?
Green.
I don't really have a
You
favorite color. I like
Yeah, but
blue.
that's so interesting about you that you don't have a favorite color.
Isn't it interesting? Why?
Yeah, because it's very unique. Most people have an answer,
Okay.
so that's very interesting. Yeah.
When this just tells you who I am. When I was 4 years old, my favorite color was black.
Yeah, I think most of us
As a
have gone through a
child,
phase. I think most of us have gone through a phase where our favorite color was black. I don't know what that says about us,
but I feel
but
like
I
as a
think
4-year-old, that's kind of weird.
I mean,
I
I
would dress
remember.
in all black as a 4-year-old.
Yeah. By the way, Secular Sekai, the GoFundMe that Secular Sekai has donated to is through to our legal fund for fighting Hindutva and the way they're coming at us legally for portraying their Hindu goddesses in in the art that we have, our Hindu goddesses. They're coming after us in legally in many different ways, and we have a GoFundMe to fight back against that. And the link to that GoFundMe is also in the description. Thank you again, Secular Psycho. We're also hitting our next milestone. Very close. We're so close to
I know, it's
the.
exciting.
Yeah, thank you for. Yeah, so thank you for that. Anyways,
Um,
so yeah,
so
let's go
this is
to
a
that.
very interesting question. Arthur Fleck is asking, what are your opinions on the Kashmir Files? Some people say it's closest to the truth, and a few say it's a propaganda film. So, for those who don't know, Kashmir Files is a documentary that just came out,
Oh,
and it was a firestorm. Um, Partially because several, I believe, predominantly BJP ruled states have made this particular film tax free. Um, so people are like, okay, clearly you want to promote a certain message. And this is a movie that is about the ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Pandits or Hindus from Kashmir and pogroms and really intense like assassinations, just really, really. Oh, it's not a documentary, it's a film. Okay, thank you. Well, it's supposed to, be based on these real events that happened in the 90s. Um, so I haven't seen it. I really want to see it. It's actually on my list to find a stream with English subtitles. So if anyone knows where I can watch this with English subtitles, please let me know. Because what I find very interesting is that like this event is definitely something that happened, right? Um there were some contentions about people talking about, oh, everyone talks about the Kashmiri pundits, but they were actually a minority of the people who were killed or displaced. Like there were many other groups of people who were displaced during this violence. Um, so that's one political angle. The other thing is that I have seen many, many examples of people openly inciting violence against Muslims at the movie theater. Like when the movie's over and they start giving speeches in the middle of the movie theater about like retribution. Um, I was just texting a friend
you're
about
getting
this.
cut a lot, but it's
Oh,
okay.
damn. I was just texting a friend about this earlier today where I'm saying, like, you see all these videos online of people standing up and giving these speeches about incitement or revenge against Muslims for what happened to the Kashmiri Pandits and wrong message away from the film. The message of, like, when you see a film about the devastation that occurs because of collective violence against people because of their religious or ethnic identity, the lesson that you're supposed to take from that is not, oh, let's go do revenge on the group, on the message should not be to turn around and do the same. Um, so I've
Right.
been finding the reaction to that very interesting, and I want to watch it really badly.
All right, so I just want to highlight one last comment, but we have to go because it's 2 hours now. But this is the last question I want to highlight. So read
Mario
it.
is saying the blasphemous art I'm seeing on our Patreon is really tasty. Not gonna lie.
Yes. So this is great. Mario just became a patron for the Q&A section, but he or she just discovered that there's a lot more to being a patron. So when you become a patron, you get access to the nude version of our blasphemous art, the not safe for work version of our blasphemous art. And yes, and he or she is happy with what she's saying. So again, another incentive for the rest of you to become a patron. Look, guys, we have blasphemous art, like not safe for work, 18 plus blasphemous art every single week, exclusive to our patrons, right? So link is in the description. Consider becoming a patron, and you get all of that plus access to our Q&A every week.
Wait, this
Yeah.
is so funny. When I said that my favorite color was black, Imran had spoken like a true Shia.
Wait, look at green and black, very Islamic. Green is like very Islamic, and black is very Shia. Yeah,
Mask off.
mask up. Yeah, taqiyya exposed. All right, cool.
The
So
mask
we should go.
slips. So guys, a couple things, housekeeping things that we need to touch base on. First of all, we told you before, but it's worth repeating that Armin and I are having a short break from streaming because we really need a break. So we won't be doing the news this weekend, and next week we will not be doing a Q&A, but we will be back for the news on the next weekend. So the next stream that we'll be back for is, if you're in North America, it's on Saturday the 6th, or if you're pretty much anywhere else, it is on Sunday the 27th. So we're taking a little break, very much needed break. So that's one thing. And also, don't forget that March 23rd is Atheist Day. Do we want to...
Yeah, but before you say that, we will still have the
Q&A.
The news will be skipped, but the Q&A is not going to get skipped. I just want to say that to Morales. She's like, I just became a patron, and you guys not going to do a Q&A. The Q&A is not getting skipped. Only the news is getting skipped. No, wait, which one is going to get skipped?
We're taking a break off both.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry, I forgot about it. Okay, Morales, we'll make sure. Don't worry. We'll the Q&A is coming the week after next week. We'll having a Q&A. Okay, so this is just one Q&A that we're skipping. Okay, I'm just like Morales. I was just
Don't
worried
worry
about Morales.
Yeah. Don't worry, Mario. You can also
Mario.
be verbally abused by Armin.
Yes.
Just patience.
Okay. No, what are you saying? Oh yeah, Atheist Day. Atheist Day is coming, guys. We really need you to use the hashtag Atheist Day. Okay, even if you can't be bothered to take a picture with a green circle. By the way, the green circle is very easy. You could draw it on your hand. You could draw it on a piece of paper. You could just change your profile pic, whatever, right? With the green atheist logo, right? The Atheist Day logo, which is okay. This is just a way for the world to notice that atheists exist, and they should just be accepted as part of society. Okay, the message of Atheist Day is not that, oh, leave religion. We do have that message, but that's not the message of Atheist Day. Okay, the message of Atheist Day is that atheism should not be a taboo. Atheism should not be demonized. And you do that by making more people notice that their friends are atheists, the people who they celebrate are atheists, that atheism is normal. We're normalizing atheism. So the more of you do this, the better it's going to be. The more you're going to help us normalize atheism, right? So just make sure you use that. If whatever you do, whatever messages you have, you use the hashtag Atheist Day, just so that more people will get exposed to this hashtag and they start using it. Okay. Yes, the green circle. Thank you so much, Mustafa. Yeah. Exactly, right? But it's just like a circle. We made the logo so simple just so that everybody could draw it, right? Everybody could, like, some people are using green wristbands, some people are using, green headgears. Okay, it's just a simple green circle. You could draw it there. You could just get a green marker and draw it underneath. Some people are drawing green
and it's
circles
also
on a
nondescript
Quran.
enough that if being very open about your atheism is very safe for you, you can just post a green circle and not have it draw attention to you.
Yeah, but don't take that many risks, even if that is true.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, be careful. And if you want to see the nature behind the symbolism and the day and everything, you could just go to atheistday.org. Is that website?
I think it's .com.
Oh, is it? Wow, we got the .com for it. Yeah, you're right. atheistday.com. Does it work still? I hope it still works. Oh no, it's not. Oh no, it's .org.
It is .org. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yes, .org. It's working.org. Yeah, it's atheistday.org. If you want to see the information and the symbolism and everything behind that, that's where you go. Okay. All right. There's that. Okay, cool. Guys, serious. I'm serious now. You
Green
guys all
circle
have
for
to.
Atheist Day. Islamic conspiracy.
No, but guys, this is serious. Okay, you have to use the hashtag Atheist Day if it's safe for you. Okay, this is serious. This is like the least work you need to do to do some form of activism, and you're actually helping normalize atheism. So make sure and tell other people to do it as well. Okay, they don't even have to be atheists. They just have to be interested in normalizing or accepting atheists. You could be like the most fundamentalist Christian or Muslim and be like, hey, I want a world where less people are mean to atheists. You could have that philosophy. Okay, so you don't have to remind atheists that only atheists that this is Atheist Day. Everybody could be participate in Atheist Day. Okay. Anyways, thank you everyone. And anything else before we go?
No, I'll miss you guys. We'll be back soon.
We'll be back soon. Yes. All right, guys. Okay. See you guys there. Well, I'm gonna see you guys soon because I have some streams on secular jihadists. But Susanna, we'll see you the week after next week. All right. Bye guys. Bye.